Okay, so not all of us are lucky enough to get second chances in life, but this is mine. We're going to imagine that first career conversation with Stuart didn't happen. Let's just say it was a bad dream. And this is my chance to have that first careers conversation with Stuart again. After reading through the guidance and getting some coaching, I'm actually looking forward to it. And if I'm honest with myself, and I do have moments of that, I know I can be a bit guilty of not making the time to, really fully get to know my staff and understand them. And I know with Stuart, I need to go in with an open mind and just try my hardest to park any biases that I formed at the door, if you know what I mean. So, I'm ready. I'm prepared. I'm going in.
Hi there.
Stuart! Hi. Come on in, take a seat, get yourself comfy.
Right, cheers.
You all right there?
Yeah.
Well, look, first of all, I just want to say thanks so much for taking the time for this today.
Okay, that's okay.
And I'm so pleased that you've taken up the opportunity to have one of these career conversations.
Right.
I don't know how much you know about these.
Not much.
Okay, well that's good, because that's why I'm here, so I can fill any gaps in for you. First thing to say is this is a really important work stream for the charity. It makes up our 5-year group strategy, and it's really about looking at our organisational resilience and our commitment in people. So how does that sound?
Yeah, sounds good. Yeah.
Okay, great. And I want you to see this as your opportunity to, well, really just share your aspirations with me.
Sorry, aspirations?
Yeah. In terms of your career, what future plans or goals that you might have, and that can be now or maybe something you're thinking about in a few years' time?
Well, at this age, I think it's more likely to be nearer rather than further in a couple of years.
What do you mean? You're a spring chicken. We both are. No, but seriously, Stuart, these don't even have to be plans around work. It might be aspirations or goals that you have about your personal life or interests that you have outside of the workplace.
Okay.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. And I want you to feel totally relaxed, that you can open up and talk to me about anything you like. I promise you I'm not going to make any judgment on anything you talk about, yeah? Okay. DAC are just really keen that we're nurturing our talent. People like you, yeah, who might be looking for a career change or an opportunity to change roles. And we're going to see whether that's possible either now or in the future. And I want you to see this as your opportunity to just share your thoughts with me. Yeah?
Yeah, that sounds good. So,
Right?
Where do you want to start?
Oh, okay. Well, look, I've got some questions. So what I thought we would do is we'd start with the questions and see where that gets us, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, and these questions, by the way, they're all part of the preparation form that I sent you earlier.
Yeah, I got those. And yeah, I'm prepared.
Well, that's great. Okay. I think I've got off to a good start there. The suggestion of what to say at the start of the career conversation was really helpful. I just put it more into my own words. Stuart was looking positive as well, so all good. All good so far, at least. So, time for me to dive into the questions. So what motivates you in your job?
People. Helping people. Yeah, I know that's what we do as a charity, but for me, it's all about that, in everything. So.
When you say in everything, tell me a little bit more about that.
Well, I've got a real interest in people and, serving my community. And I really believe that, encouragement and support is the best way to get the most out of people.
Great. So once I'd explored what came from that question, I asked him more questions about his hobbies and interests. And it turns out that he's a bit of an unsung baker, which I think somebody had mentioned in passing once. He makes bread, cakes, you name it. How about that? Oh, and he used to be a footballer when he was in his teens. And he's also the social secretary of his local history group. Plus, he does work in his local GPs as a patient liaison officer. I just don't know how he has the energy for all of that. I mean, when I get home, it's just about as much as I can do to raise a glass of wine to my lips. I found out quite a lot about Stuart, actually, that I hadn't a clue about. Anyway, I moved on to the next set of questions.
So, what positive feedback do you get at work?
Well, over the years, I've been told many times that I'm a good team player.
I definitely agree with that. In fact, what is it that makes you such a great team player, Stuart?
Well, I've been thinking about that since I got the questions, and I think the thing is about it is that I'm genuinely happy to help out. Mm-hmm. And that applies outside work as well, the work that I do as a patient liaison volunteer.
That's a great example.
Right.
I was just thinking, do you have any examples within the workplace?
Well, I sometimes sit with the fundraising team and I've contributed a few ideas and they've congratulated me on those.
That's great.
Yeah, and actually outside of work, going back to the work I do at the GP, I've got some praise there for some of the ideas that I put in there as well. I'm secretly quite proud of those as well.
I bet.
Yeah.
I probed a bit more on these innovative ideas, and one of them was brilliant. He spoke about potentially introducing a bereavement clinic for family members where they can come together and talk about their experiences. I mean, what an inspirational idea. So next, I carried on with the focus on work.
So, where do you see yourself in the next few years?
Well, I definitely still see myself at DAC.
Well, that's good to know. And would that be in your current role, or would you be looking to progress?
Well, I still want to progress, but I'm just a bit nervous.
Nervous? What's making you nervous?
Well, let's say I'm not sure how many new tricks this old dog can be taught.
Stuart, none of us are too old to learn, old dog or not.
I asked Stuart what his big ambitions or goals for work were, and he still seemed unsure. And it was the next question that was the key. I asked him if there was a job he wanted to do, and he said maybe a role in fundraising that looks at innovation, which I thought was a really interesting idea.
So I know we've talked about your skills and talents outside of work. And what I'm interested to know, Stuart, is what are those skills and talents that you possess that from your perspective you feel aren't being used here at DAC?
I mentioned to you that I'm a bit of an amateur baker, but I'm also a bit of a chef, although I'm not sure how that's relevant to work.
Okay, I didn't know what to do with that one. But thinking about it, I suppose being a good cook or baker could show that he likes to be helpful, as he'd already mentioned, and also that he likes to be needed and appreciated. And then it was time to move on, to explore his goals more.
So what goals do you have outside of work?
Well, I'd like to work on my baking skills.
Okay, and when you say your baking skills, what exactly would you like to do?
Well, I need to sharpen up my cake decorating skills. Trust me, they're not good at the moment. It looks like a 5-year-old's gone mad with an icing bag when I've finished.
I'm sure it's not that bad.
No, it is, trust me, it really is.
Okay, so improving your cake decorating skills, that's one goal, yeah?
Yes, definitely, yeah.
And any other goals when it comes to your baking?
Well, my friends and family keep telling me that I should apply for the Great British Bake Off, but I'm not sure.
Why are you not sure?
Well, mainly because of the cake decorating skills, so, I need to have my game with those.
That was very interesting that he brought up the baking idea again. So I probed that a bit more and then summarised.
So you love the innovation and you love the baking. So what I'm thinking, Stuart, is there a way that we could couple those two ideas in a work context?
Yeah, actually. I could organise a charity bake-off for DAC.
And then he came up with a whole host of different suggestions and ideas. He was on fire. Ideas a go-go. And then once I felt we'd explored enough for this first conversation, we moved on to what we could do when it came to next steps.
So what are you ready for when it comes to next steps? And that can be at work or personal life, or both.
Okay. But on the personal side, I think finding a cake decorating course and doing it is definitely the next step there. And work-wise, I think next step is, well, I've been thinking about mapping out a new role, around innovation. I was thinking with the fundraising team originally, but the more that we've been discussing this and also thinking about the fact that I'd like to help people and also serve in my community, I'm now thinking maybe another team, another area at DAC, maybe logistics or supported care.
Well, what about your passion for innovation?
Well, I think that would be exactly right to think about bringing more innovative ideas to those different areas as well. And the more I think about it, the more excited I am about that,
We explored that idea further before turning our attention to talking about support.
So firstly, from a work perspective and considering everything that we've discussed, what support do you think you might need?
Not sure. I don't really know.
Okay, well, let's think about it, shall we? You could do some shadowing, or maybe you could do a secondment in one of those other areas you were talking about, like logistics or supported care.
Okay, well, that sounds great, if it's possible.
I asked Stuart what support he needed from the personal perspective, and he wasn't sure how we could support him.
So it's totally up to you, of course, but would you like another one of these discussions?
Yeah, I'd appreciate that. Yeah.
Great. And don't forget, next time we can invite another manager in, maybe somebody from logistics or supported care.
Definitely, that sounds great idea.
Good. All right, well, look, let's get our diaries out so that we can agree on a date, yeah?
We also started talking about creating a development plan that he would flesh out in the second discussion. I made sure that I was very clear at this point to add that there were no promises about a move to another area or a new role. Oh, and then I asked Stuart when he would feel ready to move to a new role, if it was agreed.
Yeah, I'd say 6 to 9 months.
Okay, let me take a note of that.
Okay.
Great. Okay, so is there anything else you'd like to add, Stuart?
No, apart from say, thank you.
Well, thank you. Thanks for being so open and for coming up with those fantastic ideas.
Are you sure I can't bring in some of my next bakes for you?
Yeah. Well, look, I'm saying yes, but the contents of my wardrobe are most definitely saying no.
I'm telling you, following the guidance about how to conduct one of these career conversations was really helpful. And just having that list of questions, well, it gave me a springboard to probe further and find out more about Stuart.
I'll be honest, I was a bit worried about having the conversation, but yeah, I felt throughout the whole thing that Jen wasn't judging me. And she seemed genuinely interested in finding out more about me and supporting me and helping me. And I was actually quite surprised because as we went along, I found that I wanted to open up and, tell her more.
It was great that he shared his work ambitions with me, and we're going to discuss those further in our next conversation. I hope it was a positive experience for him.
Yeah, it was positive. Very. I can honestly say I'm pleasantly surprised.